Hi, everybody, and welcome to English for You. I'm Pat.
And I'm Adam.
And today we're taking you on a trip around Barcelona. In particular, we're going to look at the famous buildings that were designed by one particular architect. I think you've been to Barcelona, right?
That's right. I went during my honeymoon,
Okay.
And we looked around some of the beautiful structures.
Yeah, I went back in about 2007, I think it was.
Oh, wow.
So quite a while ago, but a memorable trip. A lot happened. I'd been there about an hour when I had all my money stolen.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Barcelona is like a lot of big European cities in that you do have to keep an eye out for pickpockets, thieves.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Then on one of the buildings that we're going to talk about, I got severe vertigo, which is when you're on a high place and you feel like, I'm going to fall down.
Right.
In fact, I was at the top of one of these structures, and it seemed like a voice was telling me, you're going to slip and fall as you walk along this place. So why don't you just jump off and save yourself the worry?
Right.
So yeah, my knees went all kind of weak and stuff.
And wobbly. Did you ever have that feeling before?
No, nor since, because since then I've been bungee jumping, and so I did jump off a high place to kind of get it out of my system.
Right.
So yeah, Barcelona, I also saw a football match there. I ate some great food. It was a really nice place. And yeah, I went to a bunch of the places we're going to mention, saw these beautiful buildings. So a great time, definitely a fantastic city to visit. And it does look quite unique. And we're going to read about why in the article. So let's start day one right now.
Reading.
Welcome to Gaudi's Barcelona. If you've ever visited or even seen pictures of Barcelona, you've likely spotted some works by Antoni Gaudi. The world-famous architect was born in 1852 in Catalonia, Spain. He had health problems as a child and spent lots of time resting in the family's summer house. There, he paid much attention to nature and became inspired by it. This is something he would later bring into his building designs. In 1868, Gaudi moved to Barcelona, where he used his talent to become an architect. He spent the rest of his life in the Catalonian capital, where he also designed most of his buildings. His designs proved significant to the Catalan modernism style of the day. Gaudi's works often feature many elements that have been inspired by nature. They are packed with organic shapes and often use bright colors, which gives them a dreamy appearance. Park Güell, completed in 1914, is a great example of this. The park uses round shapes, curved benches, and colorful tiles to balance the man-made parts. The park also features twisted columns that look like trees.
So the article begins and says, if you've ever visited or even seen pictures of Barcelona, you've likely spotted some works by Antoni Gaudi.
And here we see Gaudi. Gaudi we'll learn more about, but a pretty famous and later an architect. The article continues by saying the world-famous architect was born in 1852 in Catalonia, Spain. In that sentence, we see the word architect. Now, you might be wondering, what is an architect? An architect is a person who plans, designs, and oversees the construction of buildings. So we can use an example sentence such as, I wonder who was the architect that designed Taipei 101?
That's a good question. It feels like it should be someone famous, but the name escapes me. I think if you go there, you'll probably see there's that deck where you get to look out, and I think all the information is there. But yeah, it feels like it should be a famous person, or they got famous for that. So what do we learn about Gaudi? we see in the article, he had health problems as a child and spent lots of time resting in the family's summer house.
Oh, no. Well, it's too bad he was sick at such a young age. But it must be nice to have a summer house to escape to.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing a wealthy family would have.
Right. Okay. Well, getting back to our article, it states, there he paid much attention to nature and became inspired by it. So I became inspired to learn how to surf after watching a movie about it.
Oh, cool.
Has anything inspired you lately, Pat?
I try to be receptive. I try to pay attention to things around me. One example I'll always remember is just seeing a mosaic on a wall in Taiwan. A mosaic is like, we'll talk about tiles later. A mosaic is a picture that's made up of lots of small tiles on a floor or a wall. And I was inspired to write a story about mosaics that came to life.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, that's the kind of thing that would inspire me. It's usually to do with stories. So, Gaudi was inspired by nature. He was looking around this summer house and all the beautiful gardens around it. And we learn in the article, this, or nature, this is something he would later bring into his building designs.
Oh, okay, so I see. So he loved nature so much, he wanted his buildings to become like nature or to be natural, you could say.
Yeah, instead of sort of big square blocks of, towers and things like that, he wanted to use nature in his designs.
All right. Okay, so our article continues by saying, in 1868, Gaudi moved to Barcelona, where he used his talents to become an architect. Here in that sentence, we see the word talent. Talent is a word, and what it means is a skill or ability to do something. So I could say, at the age of 4, Sally showed a special talent as a piano player. She was really good at playing the piano at such a young age. She had such great talent. Now, Pat, do you have any kind of special talents?
I suppose I'm not a bad writer and I'm a reasonably good actor.
Okay.
I'm quite quick at making up stories and stuff just off the top of my head.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Thinking on my feet. How about you?
I used to be talented, the past tense of the word talent, at soccer until I got an injury that sidelined me. And there are some other talents. My wife says I'm a talented cook.
Great.
Where I can cook some things, but nothing as the way of maybe Gaudi.
Yeah, not that kind of, I'm going to become a really famous cook or soccer player. Okay, well, what do we learn about Gaudi? The article says he spent the rest of his life in the Catalonian capital, where he also designed most of his buildings. So Barcelona is not the capital of Spain, that is, of course, Madrid, but Barcelona is the capital of Catalonia, this region. It's northeastern Spain, almost up as high as France. It's on the coast, and it does have its own language, which is a little bit different from the language of Spain. Yeah. It's got its own kind of culture there. We'll talk about that again in a moment. But it's a distinct region of Spain. Spain is made up of several distinct regions. You've got the Basque region up on the north coast, where it's a completely different language. Down in the south, where there's a lot of influence from Africa and the Arab cultures, it's a different feel altogether.
That's right. And continuing with our article, it says, his designs proved significant to the Catalan modernism style of the day. So we see in that sentence the word prove. Prove is if something proves to be or have a particular quality. Things happen that show it as that quality. So we could use it as a sentence for an example like this. My friend's Halloween costume is proving to be scary because all the trick-or-treaters are running away.
Wow, it must have been pretty scary indeed.
That's right.
So, Gaudi's designs proved significant. They were important to Catalan modernism, which was the style at the time in his day of when he was in Barcelona and working. So, Catalan modernism, Catalan means from Catalonia, this region I just mentioned, and Catalan modernism was a movement in art and literature to find a style of art and building and writing that was individual. It was separate from the rest of Spain. It was something modern, so modernism, you get that. It was just, this is our style. This is our thing we're trying to create. If you look it up on the internet, you'll see that the buildings of Catalan modernism, they had slightly Arabic or medieval styles. They preferred curved lines over straight lines, and there were lots and lots of details in the buildings. And all of this does apply to Gaudi's work, as we'll see, and he helped kind of create and make that style what it was.
Right. And throughout that sentence, we heard of the phrase of the day, so of the day, which means of a particular period of time. So it's actually taking place during that specific time period. Usually, when you go to a restaurant, for an example, the waiter will ask you, "Would you like the soup of the day?" which means it's the soup of that certain day. Whether it be a Tuesday or maybe a Wednesday, it's for that specific time. So Gaudi's modernism architect was stylish in his eyes for that day. It took on its own place.
Yeah, at that period of time in Barcelona.
That's right.
So we, of course, read that Gaudi was inspired by nature, and we see Gaudi's works often feature many elements that have been inspired by nature from his childhood. When we talk about elements, we're talking about the essential parts or characteristics of something. When you're talking about a movie, you've got a lot of different elements to a movie. You've got the acting, you've got the special effects, you've got the story, of course, the actual plot, you've got the music, you've got the costumes that people wear. All of those are elements of a movie. So you could say the music was one of the movie's best elements. It made the scenes very moving. So what kind of nature or what sort of inspirations from nature did he take?
Well, let's find out. The article continues by going back and saying, they are packed with organic shapes and often use bright colors, which gives them a dreamy appearance. So we see in this sentence, be packed with, which is a phrasal verb. And this phrase means to be extremely crowded or full of something. So if you're going to Costco or the supermarket early in the morning, you could say something to your mom like, the parking lot will be packed with cars if we don't get there early, or something that is packed full of something such as, why is your suitcase packed with candy?
I like candy.
Exactly.
So we see that Gaudi's buildings are packed with organic shapes. When we use organic in this way, we mean they are the shapes that you're likely to see in nature rather than ones that people have designed. If you look at nature, there's not as many straight lines. There aren't so many straight right angle 90-degree corners. Things just don't really grow that way. They grow in a natural, curved and flowing way. So that's what we mean by organic shapes. Organic food is food that's grown without chemicals or other man-made things. Here's another example. The furniture in this room is all made from organic materials. So it's wood and things like that. Stone maybe, but not plastic or steel.
Right, yeah. I think I bought some organic shoes a couple months ago, and they've lasting quite a long time. And also we see in that sentence, we see dreamy, which means it's a word and it's an adjective. It means having a magical or satisfying quality, something that is dreamlike or fantasy-like. It has a distinct feel to it, you could say. So I could use it in a sentence such as, the way the sunlight shined through the window gave the bedroom a dreamlike appearance.
A dreamy appearance.
Yeah, a dreamy appearance.
Exactly. It would be like a dream. So what kind of places in Barcelona show this? We see in the article, Parc Güell, which I think is how you say it, completed in 1914, is a great example of this. Now, this sentence uses today's language in focus, and it shows a way we can reduce a relative clause to make it simpler, easier to say, and easier to read. We often do this in English because English speakers like to cut out words of sentences when we can, just to make them easier to say, to read. So we could have said Parc Güell, which was completed in 1914, but we can omit the which was. So we omit the relative pronoun which and the be verb, and that just makes the sentence shorter and easier. Now, we can do this with a VING form of the verb when the sentence is in an active voice. So instead of saying, the man who is wearing the red shirt is my uncle, we can shorten it to, the man wearing the red shirt is my uncle. And when the sentence is passive and the action has been completed, we can use the PP form of the verb. For example, the song, which was originally written by Willie Dixon, was made famous by the Rolling Stones. Make it shorter. Cut out that which. Cut out the be verb. The song, originally written by Willie Dixon, was made famous by the Rolling Stones.
Okay. Well, let's jump back into our article, and it continues to say, the park uses round shapes, curved benches, and colorful tiles to balance the man-made parts. So in that sentence, we see the adjective, the word curved, which is an adjective, and it means it is something that is slightly bent or not straight. So there's a lot of things that are curved. For an example, you could say the road was so curved, it looked like the letter S.
That's
so
right.
It wasn't straight. And there's a lot of things that don't follow the straight line pattern that are curved, such as the hat I'm wearing today.
Yep.
The little bill that I would say is curved.
Yeah, it's not got a straight angle sharp corner, has it? And yeah, this park is just like that. Everything's kind of wrapped and curved and a little bit circular. Even the steps don't look like they're straight. They're all kind of curved and it all looks like it's, even though it's people have made these steps and put things on them, they look like they could have just been grown out of the natural rock because of these kind of curved lines. And everywhere is covered with these colorful tiles, bright blues and yellows and greens. A tile is a thin piece of baked clay. It's usually square or rectangular if you have them in your home, but these ones in Parc Güell are all kind of round and curved again. With a tile, you might put it on a wall, a floor, or a roof. You sometimes make a pattern. I mean, think of the walls in your bathroom or your kitchen. They generally have big flats, square or rectangular tiles because they're easier to clean and tiles will often keep the water off. So they're important for a bathroom or a kitchen. But yeah, they're on the floor, they're on little walls, they're on the statues that are in there, they're on the benches. It's all over the place. It's really interesting.
Yeah, so many different colors while you're visiting there, so many different colored tiles. Jumping back to the article, it continues to say, the park also features twisted columns that look like trees. Here we see the word twisted, which is an adjective. It's a word that means is something bent into a shape that is not normal. So if you ever have computers behind your desk or see something that is just all mangled, you could even say, you could have an example sentence such as, the wires behind my computer desk are twisted and unorganized. So they're not straight. They could be all over the place and wrapped around each other.
So these are twisted columns. A column is a long, straight piece of stone or other material, usually used to hold up the roof of a building, or they just look nice. If you go into many buildings, you see big columns. Now, columns are usually straight. They can have a round shape or a square shape. But a twisted column would kind of look like a giant hand had kind of grabbed them and just sort of bent them and squeezed them a little.
Yeah, I think of the Disney movies of the evil king or the evil queen having the castle with the weird columns.
Yeah, and in older architecture, the columns would be big, straight, powerful things that looked very clean and strong. But Gaudi's, the columns are twisted. So rather than looking just like straight columns, they look like trees, which of course don't grow straight up. Trees bend and twist and have curved lines. Here's an example sentence for column. Ancient Roman and Greek buildings often had many large columns at the front. So that is one example of Gaudi's architecture, this really kind of crazy park full of bright colors, curving lines, and this sort of dreamy feel to it all. We're going to talk about some more of these in day 2 of our article, but right now we're going to go to today's For You Chat question.
For You Chat.
Okay, everyone. For the For You Chat question is, do you like the style of Gaudi's buildings? Why or why not? What makes them special? What's something you might not like about them?
Well, they were certainly really cool to look at. You know, they were just different. I hadn't been to as many places in the world as I had when I went to Barcelona. There was a bunch. I hadn't been out to Taiwan by then. I hadn't been to a few other places. So for me, it was like, wow, this is just really different to anything I've seen before. Compare it to like London I'd been to or New York I'd been to. It's big buildings, straight buildings. But yeah, Gaudi stuff was really different. I do wonder if you live there, whether you'd start to just kind of wish, all right, this is too crazy for a while.
Right.
They're great for a vacation, but maybe would all these curved lines, we're going to talk about another building tomorrow, I don't know if they'd be as comfortable to live in.
Yes.
Compared to actually just viewing them for a holiday. But yeah, as a visitor, they were amazing. How about you?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think that how he used nature to depict some of the buildings was really unique. A lot of them, and especially at the place we were talking about previously, some of them had slopes almost like slides where they didn't even have stairs. And I thought that was really unique in a way. But yeah, I don't know if I'd want to live in it or
like have to go up that slope
to go up every other day.
Yeah, then you might, can't you add some stairs on the side or something?
Exactly, but I really do think they were interesting for the time and still today.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's all the time we have for today, but join us again tomorrow for another look at Gaudi's Barcelona. See you then. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Talent. Julia Child's teacher said she had no talent for cooking, but she later became a famous cook. Prove. Stacy is proving to be the right person for the job, so it's good that we chose her. Element. There are pop art elements in this artist's style, but her work is still very unique. Organic. Worms break down organic matter and make the soil better for plants. Twisted. Ryan couldn't fit his foot into his sock because the sock was twisted. Column. The Pantheon in Rome can easily be recognized by the many columns at the front of the building.
智慧小补帖
Architect. Dreamy. Curved. Tile.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net